Hello my fellow readers, today I am going to be talking about a manga series, Love in the Palm of His Hand. This one has been out for a little while, but not like too long. That sounds really random. This series follows Fujinaga, who I believe his first name is really Aoi, and at the start of the series he's riding the train and there's a young man sleeping on him, and when he tries to get his attention and get him to wake up, he doesn't pay any attention to him, so he doesn't really understand what's going on. He just thinks, oh, that guy's kind of weird. Only to later run into him on campus, and he realizes that this young man is deaf, and so starts the love story between Keito and Fujinaga. And what more can I say about this? It is very much a simple semi-slice of life story that just follows the two learning to communicate with one another, because obviously Fujinaga is not deaf. He is also an actor, so a big part for him is performative. He's dealing with some tough times right now because even though he's an actor, he hasn't quite found his place yet. A lot of times when he goes to auditions, mostly for TV and movie roles, he is perceived as acting out too much. He has too much expression and emotion for what that will capture. So he's debating what the best path in his life is, but in general he really views performance as his life. But when he meets Keito, who I don't know if we know that much about what Keito wants to do in the future, but I can't remember what he's studying now. I feel terrible for forgetting. But anyway, I'm not really sure what his end goal is. And at the setup of the story, that's not really the main thing. The main thing is them learning to communicate with one another. So Fujinaga, because of his performative style, I guess I'll call it, he's really drawn to sign and learning sign in order to better communicate with Keito. And Keito, he deals with things in a different way. Like, he has no problems with Fujinaga learning sign, but he also wants to try to better bridge the gap between the two. He wants to learn ways of communicating. Like, often he's kind of always reminding Fujinaga to look at him, to not hide his face. There are a lot of cute moments in this where the two misunderstand one another and what they're really trying to say. And I don't know, it's remarkable. I just love stories where characters try to communicate and learn things different about themselves. Beyond that, and this is moving kind of more into volume 2 and I think a little bit into volume 3 as well, Fujinaga does get a role in a major, I think technically we would call it a musical and not just a play, because he does have singing in it, so I'm going to assume, and that deals with other issues. So as he's doing his play and he's going to be singing and having this performance, there is a gap and a bit of jealousy that Keito feels in knowing that, because it's something that he can't really fully experience because he can't hear him sing. And so he has jealousy toward the audience and other people who get to hear him actually perform. And it's really cute in the final performance because they do a lot so that Keito can more fully experience the performance, even though he can't hear it. And so that's another sweet communication sideline. And another one of the things is, before the whole role in the play, Fujinaga, I think this is a misunderstanding, but I don't remember why, but Fujinaga makes some kind of comment about how he's done, and Keito assumes that that means he's not going to act anymore or pursue acting, and I think he was going to study sign more, if I'm remembering correctly. And again, I don't know if this is a miscommunication. I don't quite know the whole perception. Is it really a miscommunication, or was that a true debate that Keito, no, not Keito, but that Fujinaga was having that Keito understood or misunderstood? I don't know. I think that's semi-debatable because I really think that it is true that he was contemplating just dropping everything. But anyway, regardless of that, Keito carries a bit of guilt about that, and he doesn't want Fujinaga to quit acting because he sees how sparkly and full of joy and energy he is. And so he is just like, I want you to act. And of course that is right before he gets the play. So I just think it's remarkable, the two of them and their communication, their style. It's just a really pleasant read. Again, this contains slight spoilers, but I don't think it really ruins everything. even the way they kind of agree to get together is full of like misunderstandings, but like not really. I think it's more like they're both interested in one another, but don't really know how to express it and whether it's safe to express it. We know, I think, as readers, that it would be safe, whoever would confess first, that the other party would probably be interested. But through their discussions, their actual discussion, there's miscommunication and misunderstanding within there, but it leads to a lot of cute moments. And then they always find a way to come together and to communicate the actual feelings and what they were really trying to express, but that kind of didn't matter because they were also kind of expressing the other option. And by the end of the first 3 volumes, we also get more background and exposure to Kato's family. He lives with his mother and his brother Naomi, and he's very protected. This gets a little bit into volume 4, but I'm not going to cross into volume 4. But he feels very overprotected by them, but he wants to experience new things. He wants to experience life independently, and so end of volume 3, he tells his mother that he's thinking about moving out on his own. And I think that's going to have a lot of repercussions and new discussions. But I think it's fascinating that this isn't just their story with one another. It's also looking at disability within the Japanese public, looking at communication styles, looking at relationships in general, and how sometimes a disability can impact that relationship, because you have to look at things a different way. You have to learn different communication styles, and not just with deaf. It can happen for communicating with the blind, because how do you express certain things? Any kind of impact, I think you have to alter communication style. You have to learn how to see from that person's point of view and maybe find ways to help them in the situation. But I do appreciate that in this one, it does it through the lens of one partner is deaf and the other is hearing, and just seeing how they can interact and make things work together. But then also the impact on the rest of the family and friend group. You know, how are they going to take this new person, and maybe even how are they going to perceive the influence of new people on a person that they've always known and maybe tried to help. I don't want to say like be like overbearing or anything. I don't think it's like that, but I mean somebody that you care for, you've been protecting. How was that impact when suddenly there's a new dynamic and you see changes happening with this person? Because there's got to be a lot where you want them to succeed and achieve, but also a lot of fear about what could happen to this person because they can't hear things, and that could cause a lot of conflict and problems. Anyway, it is a really sweet story. I would definitely recommend this one. Obviously, an obvious comparison to this would be I Hear the Sunspot. Again, dealing with that same kind of situation, but I think looks a bit more into career options and surgical options. I don't know if this is going to get into a lot of the same kind of conversations and conflicts that happen in that story, but obviously the communication and the relationship development between deaf and hearing happens in both, and also of course a sign of affection, and how do those relationships work. But I think beyond that too, I mean, fans of just really soft slice of life romances, I think you'd really like this one too. It's a great story. The artwork is gorgeous. I am a sucker for good art, and this one is beautiful. I mean, you can probably tell even from the covers that it's just gorgeous art. They do a really great job. This is recommended for older teens. I don't know what level of spice it's going to stay at. Right now it's just a soft BL story, but I don't know, so I can't fully say what's going to happen in the future, but it is very, very sweet and emotional and really well done. That is it for this video. Until next time, bye.